All right, everyone. Welcome to the Warren Ziegler Show. Today's going to be a little bit different. Today, I'm just going to read an article instead of watching a video. I can't find any videos I find appeasing or whatever. So this is a very interesting article. It says this is by the foreignpolicy.com. The next Israel-Iran war is coming. This is by, let me actually pull it up, by Teresa Parsi. She's a executive vice president of the Quincy Institute, which is kind of a neoconservative think tank. But to break it down, I don't actually read the whole thing. I won't read the whole thing. I read some of it, and I'll give my political commentary on it. So the first part: Israel is likely to launch another war with Iran before December, perhaps even as early as late August. And it says Iran is expecting and preparing for the attack. It played the long game in the first war, placing its missile attacks as it's anticipated a protracted conflict in the next round. However, Iran is likely to strike decisively from the outset, aiming to dispel any notion that it can be subdued under Israeli military dominance. And so to summarize it, there was a war with Israel and Iran. Everybody knows it was very popular. One thing is because we got involved with striking Iran's nuclear facilities, which was kind of you could say a excessive move. But the main thing was in our timing, and my fault as well, is that well there was one military strike, and that's it. Maybe Israel will have another war with Iran. There's a ceasefire still in context somehow, and we're not going to get involved again. In fact, it might not ever be, at least at least in the foreseeable future of Israel-Iran war. But now it seems like there is going to be one, and there can be one, as the article says, even in late August. Um, both Israel and Iran are restocking their military supplies, particularly their airstrike capabilities. And I'll actually read a little bit more of it here. As a result, the coming war will likely be far bloodier than the first. If the U.S. President Donald Trump caves to Israel's Israeli pressure again and joins the fight, the United States could face a full-blown war with Iran that would make Iraq look easy by comparison. And this is true. I mean, if Trump does, I know if I use the word cave, but if you were to again use military pressure against Iran, the truth is it's going to be not like the first time. The first time it was kind of again unprecedented. It was really bizarre. And so there wasn't really a strong response by the Iranians. In fact, I think Iranians were caught off guard, not by our attack, but by how Israel was continuously fighting them, even going after many days. But now Iran and Israel are both kind of in this fog of war that they both know that there could be an attack. They're not entirely sure, but there's still, again, there's still fog of war. We don't know when it's going to happen, but they're both sure that there is going to be an attack. I don't know who's going to start it. Nobody has a crystal ball, but still. And this is the last portion I'll read. This is going over the history of it. Israel's June war was never solely by Iran's nuclear program. Rather, it was about shifting the balance of power in the Middle East. This is obviously true. Netanyahu wants regime change. A lot of people at the Senate GOP want regime change as well. Ted Cruz, many others. With Iran's nuclear capabilities being an important but not decisive factor for more than 2 decades, Israel has pushed the U.S. to take military action against Iran to weaken it and restore a favorable regime balance, one that Israel cannot achieve on its own. And so that's the whole point of the article, really. It goes more in depth, but the whole point is that the U.S. and Israel have two different ideas of what a Iran approach is. Israel wants regime change. Americans mostly don't. This has been polled. Most Americans do not want a military regime change against Iran, where it's kind of a destabilization of the whole region, and Israel does. And the thing is, if we try to adopt the Israeli policy on Iran, it's not going to be good for us because we try to do this kind of similar with Iraq, as this article pointed out. In Iraq, I know I'll call it a failure, but it hasn't been widely accepted or widely applauded. So the end of the video is a very short video, but the end of the video, um, always put pressure on the current administration not to do these foreign policy plays that are just common mistakes. This is like a common mistake, right? Trying to change our American foreign policy and adopt it to another nation's foreign policy. So 100%, we all have to pressure the current administration not to go into a second, more bombastic, more in-depth war with Israel. I mean, a more in-depth war against Iran. Excuse me. That's really it. We have to pressure the current administration not to do that because that's going to be a political mistake, a political blunder, etc. So thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. All right.